During a storm, a poor girl helps an elegant gentleman with a flat tire on his luxury car. She has no idea that he is the director of the company that fired her mother weeks earlier. Surprised by the girl's maturity, the man begins to question his own decisions. This encounter changes the fate of a family and the future of an entire corporation. If this story interested you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and tell us what city you're watching us from. We'll keep going. The rain fell in sheets across the Chicago skyline, turning the late autumn afternoon prematurely dark. 10-year-old Emma Parker hurried along the cracked sidewalk, her second-hand sneakers splashing through puddles, her faded blue backpack protected under her yellow raincoat. The hood had slipped back, and her brown hair was plastered against her face, but she didn't bother fixing it. There was no one to see her anyway. Emma had stayed late at school to finish a science project. Her mother couldn't afford the materials for her to work on it at home. The faculty sponsor, Mrs. Wilson, had been kind enough to let her use the classroom supplies, but now Emma was running late. Her mother would be worried. 3 blocks from her apartment building, Emma noticed a sleek black Bentley pulled to the side of the road. A distinguished older man in an expensive suit knelt beside it, staring helplessly at a flat tire. Despite the umbrella propped against the car, he was getting soaked. Emma hesitated. Her mother always told her to be careful around strangers, especially in this part of Chicago, but something about the man's frustrated expression made her pause. "You need help, sir," Emma called out, keeping a safe distance. The man looked up, surprised. Water dripped from his silver hair as he squinted at her through designer glasses. "I don't think there's much you can do, young lady, unless you happen to know how to change a flat tire." Emma smiled and stepped closer. "Actually, I do. My mom taught me last summer when we had a flat on our way to my grandmother's house." The man's eyebrows rose in disbelief. "You're what, 8? 9? "I'm 10, Emma replied, setting down her backpack under the shelter of a nearby storefront awning. "And I'm stronger than I look." The man chuckled, looking at her skeptically. "I appreciate the offer, but I've called my driver. He should be here soon." "How long ago did you call him?" The man checked his watch. "About 30 minutes. Now, in this traffic and weather, he might be stuck for a while," Emma said matter-of-factly. "We could have the tire changed before he gets here." The man studied her for a long moment, then gestured to the trunk. "Well, I suppose it can't hurt to try. I'm William Sterling. By the way." "Emma Parker," she replied, already moving toward the trunk. "Do you have a jack and a spare?" William opened the trunk, revealing an immaculate interior with emergency equipment neatly organized. "Everything should be here, though I've never had occasion to use it." Emma efficiently identified the necessary tools. "Could you hold the umbrella over us while we work? I'll show you what to do." For the next 20 minutes, Emma guided William through the process of changing the tire. Her small hands demonstrated where to place the jack, how to loosen the lug nuts in the right pattern, and how to position the spare. William followed her instructions with growing amazement. "Where did you learn all this?" he asked, as Emma carefully explained the importance of tightening the nuts in a star pattern. "My mom," Emma said proudly. "She says a person should know how to solve their own problems. She knows how to fix lots of things. Cars, plumbing, our old computer. She says we can't afford to call professionals, so we have to figure things out ourselves." William's hands stilled for a moment. "Your mother sounds like a remarkable woman." "She is," Emma agreed. "She works really hard. She used to be an accountant at a big company, but they let her go a few weeks ago. She's been applying everywhere, but it's been tough." William's expression changed subtly. "I'm sorry to hear that. What company did she work for?" "Sterling Innovations," Emma replied, focused on securing the last lug nut. She was really sad about it. She loved her job. William's face paled slightly, but Emma didn't notice. She was too busy admiring their handiwork. "There, all done," she announced. "You should get the real tire fixed as soon as possible. The spare isn't meant to be used for long." William stood up slowly, looking at the changed tire and then at the soaking wet child before him. "Emma, you are quite extraordinary. You've saved me a considerable amount of time and trouble today." Emma shrugged. wiping her hands on her already wet jeans. It was nothing. My mom always says we should help people when we can. More wisdom from your mother, William noted. Speaking of whom, it's getting late. May I give you a ride home? It's the least I can do to thank you. Emma hesitated. I'm not supposed to get into cars with strangers. Very sensible, William nodded. What if I give you my business card? Your mother can call me if she has any concerns. He handed her a heavy, cream-colored card. Emma read it carefully, her eyes widening. You're William Sterling, like the William Sterling who owns Sterling Innovations. William nodded. The very same. Emma stared at him, connecting the dots. This was the man who owned the company that had fired her mother. For a moment, she considered telling him exactly what she thought about that, but her mother had also taught her to be respectful. I should probably just walk, she said finally. Nonsense, William insisted. It's pouring and I owe you a favor. I promise I'm perfectly safe. Look, I'll stay on the phone with anyone you'd like while we drive. Eventually, Emma relented. She directed William through the rain-slicked streets toward the modest apartment complex where she lived with her mother. As they pulled up to the weathered building, William felt a strange tightness in his chest. Is this where you live? He asked quietly. Emma nodded. Apartment 3B. We moved here after Mom lost her job. It's smaller than our old place, but Mom says it's just temporary until she finds work again. William looked up at the building, noting the peeling paint and cracked windows. Emma, may I ask your mother's name? Sarah Parker, Emma replied, gathering her backpack. She's probably worried about me. I should go. William's face went completely still. Sarah Parker. The name was familiar, though he couldn't immediately place it. Something about financial process improvements and cost-saving initiatives. Of course, he said. Thank you again for your help today, Emma. You're a remarkable young lady. 2. Emma ran through the rain toward the building entrance. William sat in his car watching her disappear inside. Sarah Parker, an accountant let go from Sterling Innovations. He pulled out his phone and made a call. James, it's Dad. I need you to pull a personnel file for me immediately. Sarah Parker from accounting. Yes, I believe she was part of the recent downsizing. I need everything you have on her. After ending the call, William continued staring at the apartment building, deep in thought. The rain beat a steady rhythm on the roof of his luxury car as a plan began forming in his mind. Inside apartment 3B, Emma burst through the door, soaking wet but smiling. Mom, you'll never believe what happened today. Sarah Parker looked up from her laptop, where she'd been scanning job listings for hours. Her shoulders ached from tension, but she managed to smile for her daughter. At 35, Sarah's face still retained its natural beauty, though worry lines had begun to etch themselves around her eyes. Emma, I was getting concerned, she said, rising to grab a towel from the tiny bathroom. You're soaked through. What happened? Emma recounted her adventure with the flat tire and the fancy car, her eyes bright with excitement. Sarah listened, her expression changing from amusement to shock as Emma produced William Sterling's business card. You helped William Sterling change a tire? Sarah's voice wavered slightly. The CEO of Sterling Innovations. Yeah, isn't that crazy? He didn't even know how to use the jack. Emma laughed, accepting the towel and drying her hair. He seemed nice, though, for a rich guy. Sarah took the card, staring at it as though it might burn her fingers. Emma, this is the man who owns the company that laid me off. I know, Emma said quietly. I almost told him so, but I remembered what you said about being respectful even when you're upset with someone. Sarah closed her eyes briefly. That's good, sweetheart. She placed the card on the counter. Go change into dry clothes before you catch cold. I'll heat up dinner. While Emma changed, Sarah leaned against the kitchen counter, her mind racing. William Sterling. She had never met him personally during her 3 years at Sterling Innovations. He was almost a mythical figure to most employees, the founder, who had built the company from nothing into a technology giant over 40 years. In recent years, his son James had taken over more operational control, implementing aggressive efficiency measures that had resulted in hundreds of layoffs, including her own. Sarah had been blindsided by her termination. Her performance reviews had been exemplary, and the financial optimization system she'd developed had saved the company millions. She had been told it was nothing personal, just business, a corporate restructuring to maximize shareholder value. Now her brilliant, kind-hearted daughter had unwittingly helped the very man responsible for their current struggles. In his Bentley, William Sterling was having a similarly turbulent evening. His son James had sent over Sarah Parker's personnel file, and William was reviewing it on his tablet, growing increasingly disturbed by what he found. Sarah Parker, senior financial analyst, graduate of Northwestern University, summa cum laude, hired 3 years ago. Consistent performance reviews rating her in the top 5% of employees, creator of the optimized financial tracking system that had saved the company an estimated $4.2 million annually. A note from her direct supervisor strongly objecting to her inclusion in the layoffs. And finally, James's override, citing the need to flatten management structures and eliminate redundancies. William scrolled through page after page, his frown deepening. There was nothing redundant about Sarah Parker. She was exactly the kind of innovative thinker the company needed. And now she was unemployed, living in a rundown apartment building with a remarkable daughter who had more practical skills and integrity than most adults he knew. He thought about the company he had built from his garage 40 years ago. Sterling Innovations had been founded on principles of excellence, integrity, and human potential. Somewhere along the way, as the company grew and went public, those values had been gradually overshadowed by quarterly earnings reports and shareholder demands. His son James, educated at the finest business schools, had embraced a management philosophy that prioritized short-term gains over long-term stability. William had allowed it, gradually stepping back from day-to-day operations, trusting his son's modern approach. Now, faced with the human cost of those decisions, William felt a deep sense of responsibility. Emma Parker had shown him kindness and competence when he needed help. Her mother had been an exemplary employee who'd been discarded for the sake of a balance sheet. It wasn't right. William made a decision. He called his personal assistant. "Nancy, I need you to arrange something. Find out the banking details for a former employee named Sarah Parker. I want to make a personal deposit into her account, $25,000 labeled as administrative adjustment, severance recalculation. Make it happen tomorrow morning." Nancy, accustomed to William's occasional unorthodox requests, didn't question him. "I'll take care of it, sir. Anything else?" William paused. "Yes, I want to review all layoffs from the last quarter, every single one, and I want to meet with James tomorrow afternoon." The next morning, Sarah Parker woke to an email notification from her bank. Still groggy, she checked her phone and nearly dropped it in shock. There had been a deposit of $25,000 into her account from Sterling Innovations, labeled Administrative Adjustment, Severance Recalculation. She sat up in bed, heart pounding. This had to be a mistake. Her severance had been paid out weeks ago, a paltry sum that barely covered a month's expenses. She had signed all the paperwork. There was no reason for an adjustment. Unless... Sarah looked at William Sterling's business card still sitting on her nightstand. Had Emma's chance encounter resulted in this? Was this some kind of charity? The thought made her stomach clench. She didn't want handouts, especially not from the man whose company had deemed her dispensable after years of dedication. Sarah got dressed quickly and woke Emma for school. She said nothing about the money. There would be time to figure that out later. As she helped Emma prepare breakfast, she studied her daughter's face, wondering what exactly had transpired during that rainy encounter yesterday. "Mom?" Emma's voice broke through her thoughts. "Are you okay? You're staring." Sarah smiled. "I'm fine, sweetie, just thinking about job applications." She checked the time. "Hurry up or you'll be late." After dropping Emma at school, Sarah returned to their apartment and called Sterling Innovations' HR department. After being transferred multiple times, she finally reached someone who could address her question. "Yes, Miss Parker. I'm showing an adjustment to your severance package was processed yesterday, the HR representative said. It appears there was a calculation error in your original package based on your contributions to the optimized system. The adjustment was approved by senior management. Which senior manager approved this? Sarah pressed. There was a pause. It appears to have come directly from Mr. Sterling's office. Sarah thanked the representative and hung up. She paced the small living room, conflicted. The money would make an enormous difference in their lives right now. It would give her breathing room to find the right job, not just any job. It would mean not having to worry about rent or Emma's school expenses. But it felt wrong. Too coincidental, too convenient. At Sterling Tower in downtown Chicago, William Sterling was meeting with his son James, a polished man in his early 40s with his father's sharp features, but none of his warmth. "Dad, what's this about reviewing the layoffs? That's all settled business," James said, irritation evident in his voice. William slid a folder across his desk. "Sarah Parker, explain to me why we let her go." James barely glanced at the file. She was part of the middle management restructuring. Her role was identified as non-essential. Non-essential? William's voice was dangerously quiet. She created a system that saves us millions every year. Her supervisor fought to keep her. How exactly is that non-essential? James shifted uncomfortably. The algorithms identified redundancies in the organizational structure. It wasn't personal. Algorithms, William repeated. "James, I met Sarah, Parker's daughter, yesterday. A 10-year-old girl who changed my tire in the pouring rain because her mother taught her to help people and solve problems. They're living in Westside Haven now. You know, that rundown complex near the industrial district, because we decided her mother was redundant." "Dad, you can't make business decisions based on emotional encounters." "No," William interrupted. "But I can question decisions that don't align with the values this company was built on." "I'm not convinced we're making the right choices anymore, son." James stood up, straightening his tie. "The board is pleased with our direction. Profits are up 12% this quarter. And how many more Sarah Parkers will we sacrifice for another percentage point?" William asked softly. James had no answer. That evening, Sarah sat Emma down at their small kitchen table. The apartment was quiet except for the occasional rumble of the old refrigerator. "Emma, I need to ask you about Mr. Sterling," Sarah began carefully. "Did you tell him who I was? About me working at his company?" Emma nodded, pushing her spaghetti around her plate. "I told him you used to work at Sterling Innovations and got laid off. Was that wrong?" Sarah sighed. "No, sweetheart, it wasn't wrong. But something strange happened today." She explained about the mysterious deposit, watching her daughter's face carefully. Emma's eyes widened. "That's a lot of money. Do you think it's because I helped him?" "I think it might be," Sarah admitted. "And while it's very generous, I'm not comfortable accepting it. It feels like charity because you helped him, not because I earned it." Emma frowned. "But Mom, you did earn it. You always worked super hard at that company. Maybe Mr. Sterling just realized they made a mistake." Sarah reached across the table and squeezed Emma's hand. "Life is complicated, honey. Sometimes people with power and money think they can fix problems just by throwing money at them. But that doesn't address the real issues." "What are you going to do?" Sarah straightened her shoulders. "I'm going to call him tomorrow and decline the money. We'll be okay without it. I have some promising interviews lined up." Emma looked unconvinced, but nodded. "Can I ask you something, Mom?" "Of course. If Mr. Sterling made a mistake by letting you go, isn't it good that he's trying to fix it? Isn't that what you always tell me to do when I make mistakes?" Sarah opened her mouth to respond, then closed it again. Her daughter's simple logic was disarming. After a moment, she said, "You're right that owning up to mistakes is important. But there's a difference between genuinely fixing a problem and just throwing money at it to make yourself feel better." Emma considered this. "Maybe you should talk to him and find out which one he's doing." The next morning, after dropping Emma at school, Sarah steeled herself and called the number on William Sterling's business card. To her surprise, his assistant put her through immediately. "Miss Parker, William's deep voice came through the phone. "I've been hoping to hear from you." "Mr. Sterling," Sarah said formally, "I'm calling about the deposit made to my account. While I appreciate the gesture, I can't accept it. It doesn't feel right." There was a pause. "I understand your hesitation," William replied. "But it's not charity, Ms. Parker. It's a correction. Your termination was a mistake, one of many I fear my company has made recently." Sarah gripped the phone tighter. "With all due respect, sir, a sudden correction the day after your chance meeting with my daughter seems like quite a coincidence." "It is," William admitted. "Meeting Emma was illuminating. She's an extraordinary child, but the correction stands on its own merits. I've reviewed your file, Ms. Parker. The work you did for Sterling Innovations was exceptional. You should never have been let go." Sarah's throat tightened. "Thank you for saying that. But money doesn't solve the real problem." "No," William agreed, "it doesn't. That's why I'd like to meet with you to discuss something more substantial. Would you be available to come to my office tomorrow morning?" Sarah hesitated. Part of her wanted to refuse outright, to maintain her dignity and independence, but another part, the practical part that worried about rent and Emma's future, whispered that she should at least hear him out. "I could be there at 10 a.m., she finally said. "Excellent. I'll have Nancy clear my schedule." After hanging up, Sarah stared at the phone. What had she just agreed to? Meeting with the CEO of Sterling Innovations felt surreal. She had never even seen William Sterling in person during her time at the company. That night, Sarah told Emma about the upcoming meeting. Emma was uncharacteristically quiet throughout dinner, pushing her food around thoughtfully. "Is something wrong, sweetie?" Sarah asked. Emma looked up, her expression serious. "I was thinking about your meeting with Mr. Sterling tomorrow." "What about it?" "I think," Emma hesitated, "I think maybe I should go with you." Sarah nearly choked on her water. "What? No, Emma. This is a business meeting." "But I'm the reason he's talking to you," Emma pointed out. "And sometimes adults forget what's important when they're in big fancy offices talking about money and stuff." Sarah stared at her daughter, torn between amusement and astonishment. "Emma, I appreciate your concern, but this is something I need to handle myself." Emma nodded slowly, but Sarah could tell she wasn't convinced. The next morning, Sarah dressed in her best interview suit, a navy blue ensemble that had served her well in the past. She felt a pang of anxiety as she realized the suit was slightly loose. She'd lost weight over the stressful weeks since her termination. "You look beautiful, Mom," Emma said, watching her adjust her collar. Sarah smiled. "Thank you, sweetheart. Now remember, Mrs. Wilson will pick you up from school today since I might be late. Be good, okay?" Emma nodded solemnly. "I will. Good luck with Mr. Sterling." Sarah kissed the top of her head. "I'll tell you all about it tonight." Sterling Tower dominated the Chicago skyline, its gleaming glass exterior reflecting the morning sunlight. Sarah had worked in one of the lower floors for 3 years, but she'd never been to the executive level. As the elevator climbed to the 50th floor, her stomach twisted with nerves. William Sterling's assistant, Nancy, greeted her warmly and led her to a waiting area outside his office. "Mr. Sterling is just finishing up a call. He'll be with you shortly. Can I get you anything? Coffee? Water?" "Water would be nice, thank you," Sarah replied, sitting stiffly on an elegant leather chair. The waiting area offered a panoramic view of Chicago, the city spread out like a living map below. 10 minutes later, Nancy returned. "Mr. Sterling will see you now." Sarah stood, smoothing her skirt, and followed Nancy into a spacious corner office. William Sterling rose from behind, a massive desk extending his hand. "Ms. Parker, thank you for coming. Please have a seat." Sarah shook his hand firmly. "Thank you for inviting me, Mr. Sterling." William gestured to a seating area near the windows, moving away from the desk. "I prefer to have conversations over here, if you don't mind. Less formal." They sat in comfortable chairs facing each other. William studied her for a moment before speaking. "Ms. Parker, I want to be direct with you. After meeting Emma and reviewing your work history, I've come to believe that your termination was a serious error in judgment. I'd like to offer you your position back at Sterling Innovations." Sarah blinked, caught off guard by his bluntness. "I appreciate that, but—" "Actually," William continued, "not your old position. I'd like to offer you the role of Senior Director of Financial Operations, reporting directly to me. Your optimized system has proven invaluable, and I believe you're the best person to oversee its continued implementation and evolution." Sarah sat in stunned silence. Senior Director was several levels above her previous position, with significantly more responsibility and compensation. "Mr. Sterling," she finally managed, "while I'm flattered, this seems extreme. We've never even met before this week. How could you possibly know I'm qualified for such a role?" William leaned forward. "Your work speaks for itself, Ms. Parker, but you're right to question this. Let me be completely honest with you." He paused. "Sterling Innovations has lost its way. We've prioritized short-term profits over long-term vision and human capital. Your layoff was part of a larger pattern that I allowed to happen under my son's direction. I want to correct course, and I believe you can help me do that." Before Sarah could respond, the office door burst open. Nancy appeared, looking flustered. "I'm so sorry to interrupt, Mr. Sterling, but there's someone here who insists on seeing you immediately." Sarah turned and gasped. Standing in the doorway, backpack still on her shoulders, was Emma. "Emma!" Sarah stood up, horrified. "What are you doing here? You're supposed to be in school." Emma stepped forward, her chin raised, determinedly. "I know, Mum, I'm sorry, but I had to come." She turned to William. "Mr. Sterling, before you hire my mum, I need to tell you something important." William, rather than looking annoyed at the interruption, seemed intrigued. "What might that be, Emma?" "My mum is the smartest, hardest working person I know. She stayed late at your company almost every night trying to make things better. When you fired her, she didn't even get mad. She just worked harder to find a new job. She's been protecting me, trying to make sure I don't worry. But I see her checking our bank account and skipping meals so I can have enough." Sarah felt tears stinging her eyes. "Emma, please." "No, Mom. He needs to hear this." Emma turned back to William. "If you're going to hire her back just because you feel guilty, don't do it. She deserves better than that. She deserves to work somewhere that really values her." The room fell silent. William looked from Emma to Sarah, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, he smiled. "You're absolutely right, Emma. Your mother deserves to be valued for her skills and contributions, not because of my guilt." He turned to Sarah. "Ms. Parker, my offer stands, but with an addition. I'd also like you to join a task force I'm creating to review all recent layoffs and recommend reinstatements where appropriate. Your perspective would be invaluable." Sarah looked at her daughter, then back at William Sterling. Something in his eyes told her this wasn't just charity or guilt. There was a genuine desire for change. "I'll need time to consider your offer," she said carefully. William nodded. "Of course, take all the time you need." He glanced at Emma with undisguised admiration. "You've raised a remarkable daughter, Miss Parker. She reminds me of why I started this company in the first place." As they prepared to leave, William handed Sarah a folder. "My direct contact information along with details of the position. I hope to hear from you soon." In the elevator heading down, Sarah looked at Emma sternly. "You are in big trouble, young lady. Skipping school, coming all the way downtown by yourself." Emma looked at her feet. "I know, I'm sorry, but I had to make sure he wasn't just feeling sorry for us." Despite herself, Sarah felt a smile tugging at her lips. "How did you even get here?" "Google Maps," Emma shrugged. "And I used some of my birthday money for the bus fare." Sarah shook her head, torn between exasperation and pride. "We'll discuss your punishment later, but for now." She knelt down to Emma's level. "Thank you for standing up for me. That was very brave." Emma hugged her tightly. "Are you going to take the job?" Sarah looked down at the folder in her hand. "I don't know yet. It's a big decision." "Whatever you decide," Emma said confidently, "it'll be the right choice. You always make the right choices, Mom." Sarah wished she shared her daughter's certainty. 1 week later, Sarah Parker walked through the gleaming lobby of Sterling Tower, employee badge clipped to her tailored charcoal suit. She had accepted William Sterling's offer after careful consideration and numerous discussions with Emma. The position came with a substantial salary increase, enough to move them back to their old neighborhood and ensure Emma's college fund remained intact. But money wasn't what had convinced her. It was William's sincerity and his commitment to reviewing the company's direction. He had shared his vision of returning Sterling Innovations to its foundational values, and Sarah found herself inspired by the challenge. As she rode the elevator to the executive floor, her new workspace, Sarah felt a mixture of anticipation and anxiety. She would be the newest and youngest member of the executive team, and the only one who had recently been deemed expendable by the same company. The elevator doors opened, and Nancy greeted her with a warm smile. "Good morning, Ms. Parker. Mr. Sterling asked me to show you to your office and help you get settled." Sarah followed Nancy down a corridor of glass-walled offices. Several executives looked up as she passed, their expressions ranging from curious to openly skeptical. She held her head high, refusing to be intimidated. "Here we are," Nancy said, stopping at a corner office with a spectacular view of Lake Michigan. "Mr. Sterling thought you might appreciate the eastern exposure." Sarah stepped into the spacious office, momentarily overwhelmed. The room was 3 times the size of her old cubicle, with elegant furnishings and state-of-the-art technology. "Your team is eager to meet you," Nancy continued. "They'll be gathering in Conference Room A at 10 a.m. I've prepared a brief on each member for you to review beforehand." She handed Sarah a tablet. "And Mr. Sterling would like to see you at 9:30 before your team meeting." Left alone, Sarah set her bag on the desk and moved to the window. The morning sun glinted off the lake's surface, boats already dotting the water. She took a deep breath. This was really happening. At 9:30, Sarah knocked on William Sterling's office door. "Come in, Sarah," he called, since accepting the position. They had moved to a first-name basis at his insistence. William was reviewing documents but set them aside when she entered. "How does it feel to be back?" "Surreal," Sarah admitted. "But good. I'm ready to get started." William nodded approvingly. "I've assembled your team based on your recommendations. The task force for reviewing layoffs will have its first meeting tomorrow. Today I want you to focus on getting to know your department and beginning the optimized system expansion." "I appreciate your confidence in me," Sarah said, "but I should warn you, there may be resistance. I've already noticed some looks from the executive team." William's expression hardened slightly. "Yes, I expect there will be. Change is never comfortable, especially for those who benefited from the previous direction. My son, in particular, may present challenges. James doesn't approve of my appointment. James believes I'm allowing sentimentality to cloud my judgment," William said dryly. "He'll come around when he sees results." He stood up. "Ready to meet your team?" Conference Room A was filled with about 20 people when Sarah and William entered. The conversations immediately ceased, all eyes turning to them. "Good morning, everyone," William began. "I'm pleased to introduce Sarah Parker, our new Senior Director of Financial Operations. Many of you are already familiar with Sarah and her exceptional work on the optimized system. She'll be leading the expansion of that project, along with several new initiatives we'll be rolling out in the coming months." William continued with a brief overview of the company's renewed focus on innovation and human capital, then turned the floor over to Sarah. As Sarah moved to the front of the room, she scanned the faces before her. Most were neutral, professional. A few showed genuine enthusiasm. But one face in the back, an older woman with steel-gray hair pulled into a severe bun, wore an expression of undisguised skepticism. "Thank you, William," Sarah began. "It's good to be back at Sterling Innovations, and I'm excited about the work ahead of us. The optimized system was just the beginning of what we can accomplish together. I believe in transparency and collaboration, so my door is always open. I want to hear your ideas, concerns, and insights." Sarah outlined her vision for the department, emphasizing both innovation and ethical practices. As she spoke, she noticed the gray-haired woman's expression shifting from skepticism to grudging interest. After the meeting, as team members approached to introduce themselves, the woman hung back. When the crowd thinned, she finally stepped forward. "Margaret Holloway," she said, extending her hand, "Senior Financial Analyst." Sarah shook her hand firmly. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Margaret." "I've been with Sterling Innovations for 32 years, Margaret said without preamble. "Seen CEOs and directors come and go, seen good ideas and bad ones. Your optimized system was one of the good ones." "Thank you," Sarah replied, surprised by the compliment. Margaret's eyes narrowed slightly. "But I have to wonder why someone who was laid off 3 weeks ago is suddenly directing the department. No offense intended." "None taken," Sarah said. "It's a fair question. The simple answer is that the layoffs were a mistake. Not just mine, but many others. Part of my role will be helping to correct that mistake." Margaret studied her for a long moment. Well, I'm reserving judgment. Actions speak louder than words in this business." "I couldn't agree more," Sarah replied. As Margaret walked away, William approached. "I see you've met the formidable Ms. Holloway." "Yes," Sarah said. "I get the feeling she'll be a tough critic." "Margaret has been here since my father's time," William explained. "She's seen it all and doesn't suffer fools gladly, but if you win her over, you'll have the strongest ally in the company." The rest of Sarah's first day was a whirlwind of meetings, briefings, and introductions. By late afternoon, she had a clearer picture of the challenges ahead. The optimized system needed significant updates to accommodate new financial regulations. Several key team members had left during the layoffs, creating knowledge gaps, and beneath the surface, there was a current of uncertainty about the company's direction. As Sarah prepared to leave for the day, there was a knock at her office door. She looked up to see James Sterling standing in the doorway, impeccably dressed, in a designer suit. "Miss Parker," he said coolly, "I thought I should introduce myself properly. James Sterling, Chief Operating Officer." Sarah stood and extended her hand. "Sarah Parker, it's good to meet you, Mr. Sterling." James shook her hand briefly. "My father speaks highly of your work. I trust you'll live up to his expectations." "I intend to exceed to them," Sarah replied evenly. A thin smile crossed James's face. "Ambitious, I like that. Just remember, Sterling Innovations is a business, not a charity. We answer to our shareholders." "I'm well aware of that," Sarah said, "but long-term shareholder value depends on sustainable practices and investing in human capital. That's where I intend to focus." James's smile didn't reach his eyes. "We'll see how that approach fares in the quarterly reports. Welcome aboard, Ms. Parker." After he left, Sarah sat back down, processing the interaction. The tension between William's vision and James's approach was palpable. She would need to navigate those waters carefully. That evening, when Sarah picked up Emma from Mrs. Wilson's house, her daughter bombarded her with questions about her first day. "Did you have a big office? Did people like you? Was Mr. Sterling nice? Did you get to make any big decisions?" Sarah laughed. "Yes, mostly yes and not yet. It was a good first day, but there's a lot of work ahead." "Are you happy you took the job?" Emma asked as they walked to their apartment building. They would be moving back to their old neighborhood at the end of the month. Sarah considered the question. "I think so. It's a challenge, but it feels right. I have a chance to make real changes." "I knew you'd be awesome," Emma said confidently. "Mr. Sterling is lucky to have you." Sarah smiled at her daughter's unwavering faith. If only everyone at Sterling Innovations shared it. Over the next few weeks, Sarah threw herself into her new role. The optimized system expansion progressed rapidly under her direction. She held individual meetings with each team member, learning their strengths and concerns. And she began the delicate process of reviewing recent layoffs, identifying valuable employees who had been let go for arbitrary reasons. Margaret Holloway proved to be both her toughest critic and most valuable resource. The older woman challenged every decision, demanded justification for every change, and questioned Sarah's authority at every turn. But she also provided crucial institutional knowledge and, when convinced of an idea's merit, became its strongest advocate. One evening, after most employees had left for the day, Sarah found Margaret still at her desk, reviewing financial projections. "It's almost 8 p.m., Margaret," Sarah said. "The numbers will still be here tomorrow." Margaret looked up, adjusting her reading glasses. "I could say the same to you." Sarah smiled. "Fair point. Can I at least convince you to take a coffee break with me?" To her surprise, Margaret agreed. In the empty executive lounge, as they sipped coffee, Margaret finally asked the question Sarah had been expecting. "Why did Sterling bring you back?" "Really?" Sarah considered her answer carefully. "Chance brought us together, his granddaughter, and my kindness opened his eyes. But I believe he genuinely wants to return the company to its original values." Margaret's eyebrows rose. "Granddaughter? William doesn't have grandchildren. James isn't married." Sarah realized her mistake. "I'm sorry. I meant my daughter, Emma. She helped him change a flat tire, and it led to our reconnection." "Ah," Margaret nodded slowly. "The famous Emma, William has mentioned her, sounds like a remarkable child." "She is," Sarah said proudly. Margaret studied her coffee cup. "You know, I had my doubts about you, Parker. Thought you might be just another pretty face William brought in on a whim. But I've been watching your work. You're the real deal." Coming from Margaret, this was high praise indeed. "Thank you. That means a lot." "Don't thank me yet," Margaret warned. "There are storms coming. James and his faction won't give up control easily, and the board is divided on William's new direction. You're going to need allies." Sarah met the older woman's gaze directly. "Are you offering to be one?" A slow smile spread across Margaret's face. "I might be, provided you keep proving yourself." As Sarah drove home that night, she felt a growing sense of both accomplishment and apprehension. She was making progress, winning over key players like Margaret. But the warnings about James and the board lingered in her mind. Something told her the real challenges were just beginning. The boardroom of Sterling Innovations hummed with tension. Morning sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating the 20 executives seated around the massive walnut table. At one end sat William Sterling, his posture relaxed but his eyes sharp. At the opposite end, James Sterling reviewed documents on his tablet, occasionally glancing at his father with barely concealed irritation. Sarah sat midway down the table, acutely aware of being the newest person in the room. Margaret Holloway sat beside her, a silent but reassuring presence. After a month at Sterling Innovations, Sarah had proven herself competent and innovative, but this quarterly board meeting would be her first major test in front of the full executive team and board of directors. "Let's begin," William announced, calling the meeting to order. "Our first agenda item is the optimized system expansion. Sarah, would you please update us?" Sarah stood, activated the presentation screen, and began her report. The expansion was ahead of schedule and under budget. Initial tests showed a 22% improvement in efficiency and a projected annual savings of $7.3 million. She spoke confidently, backed by solid data and weeks of preparation. When she finished, there was a moment of appreciative silence, broken by slow applause from Richard Blackwood, a senior board member and cousin of the company's late co-founder. "Impressive work, Ms. Parker," Richard said, his patrician features arranged in a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Though I must wonder why such improvements weren't implemented during your previous tenure with the company." The question carried a subtle barb, implying Sarah had withheld innovations until her promotion. Before she could respond, Margaret spoke up. "If I may, Richard," Margaret said, her voice crisp. "The expansion builds on Ms. Parker's original system, which required executive approval for further development. That approval was denied 3 times under the previous operational directives." Richard's smile tightened. "I see. Thank you for the clarification, Margaret." The meeting continued with updates from various departments. James presented the quarterly financial results, emphasizing revenue growth and shareholder returns. He made no mention of employee satisfaction or retention, which had been central to William's recent communications. Finally, William addressed the elephant in the room. Now I'd like to discuss our company direction moving forward. As you all know, I've been concerned about our drift from the core values that built Sterling Innovations. We've been prioritizing short-term gains over sustainable growth and human capital. James visibly stiffened. Dad, we've discussed this privately. Perhaps we should... This is precisely the place to discuss it, James, William interrupted gently. The full board should be part of this conversation. He turned to address the room. I've asked Sarah to head a task force reviewing our recent layoffs. Sarah, please share your preliminary findings. Sarah took a deep breath and presented the data. Of 342 employees laid off in the past year, the task force had identified 118 whose termination appeared to contradict performance metrics, innovation contributions, or specialized knowledge. She outlined the cost of these departures: lost institutional knowledge, decreased morale, increased workload on remaining staff, and the expense of recruiting and training replacements. Our recommendation, Sarah concluded, is to rehire 73 of these employees immediately, focusing on those with critical skills and proven innovation records. The projected cost is offset by productivity gains within 2 quarters, with net positive impact by year-end. As she sat down, the boardroom erupted into heated discussion. Richard Blackwood leaned forward, his expression stern. "This is preposterous," he declared. "We cannot simply reverse business decisions based on sentimentality. The restructuring was necessary to streamline operations and maximize shareholder value." "With respect, Mr. Blackwood," Sarah countered, "our analysis shows the restructuring actually harmed long-term value. We've lost key innovators and damaged our company culture." James stood now, commanding attention. "While Ms. Parker's analysis is interesting, it fails to account for market realities. Our shareholders expect consistent growth and returns. They don't invest in vague concepts like company culture or employee satisfaction." William's voice cut through the tension. "Actually, James, they invest in results. And our results have been declining in key areas: innovation, market share, and talent retention. We're becoming a company that chases quarterly numbers while losing sight of what makes us exceptional." The confrontation between father and son grew increasingly personal. James accused William of undermining the modernization efforts he'd spent years implementing. William countered that James had abandoned the principles that had built the company. "This isn't about principles," James said, his composure slipping. "It's about survival in a competitive market. We can't afford to run the company like it's still 1985. And we can't afford to treat our people as disposable assets," William replied, his voice steady but intense. "That's never what Sterling Innovations stood for." The board members watched uncomfortably as the family drama unfolded. Richard Blackwood finally intervened. "Gentlemen, perhaps we should table this discussion for now. It's clear there are fundamental disagreements about direction that won't be resolved in this meeting." William nodded reluctantly. "You're right, Richard. Let's move on to other business." The remainder of the meeting was tense but professional. When it ended, board members quickly dispersed, eager to escape the lingering atmosphere of conflict. Sarah gathered her materials, disturbed by the open rift between William and James. As she headed for the door, Richard Blackwood approached. "Trace Ms. Parker," he said smoothly. "A word, if you don't mind." She paused, noting Margaret's watchful gaze from across the room. "Of course, Mr. Blackwood." Richard guided her to a quiet corner. "You've made quite an impression in your short time here. William speaks very highly of you." "I appreciate his confidence," Sarah replied carefully. "Yes. Well," Richard straightened, his gold cufflinks. "Confidence is a precious commodity. I've known William for over 40 years. We were college roommates, you know. I've always admired his vision, but lately..." He paused delicately. "Lately, I worry he's losing perspective." Sarah maintained a neutral expression. "In what way?" "William built this company on innovation, true, but also on practical business sense. This crusade to undo necessary restructuring, this fixation on returning to our values, it's concerning. The board has a responsibility to shareholders. I believe serving shareholders means building lasting value, Sarah said, not just chasing quarterly numbers. Richard smiled thinly. A popular sentiment among those who don't hold significant shares themselves. He leaned closer. Consider your position carefully, Ms. Parker. Hitching your star to William's current philosophy may not be the wisest career move. James represents the future of Sterling Innovations. Before Sarah could respond, Margaret appeared at her side. Sarah, we're going to be late for the department meeting. Richard stepped back. We'll continue this conversation another time, Ms. Parker. Do think about what I've said. As they walked toward the elevators, Margaret murmured, Be careful with Blackwood. He's been playing corporate politics since before you were born. What's his angle? Sarah asked quietly. Richard was William's college roommate, but he was also the late co-founder's cousin. He believes the company should stay true to traditional values, by which he means prioritizing profit above all else. He's been James's mentor and strongest ally on the board. Back in her office, Sarah found William waiting for her, gazing out at the Chicago skyline. I apologize for the drama in there, he said without turning around. James and I usually keep our disagreements private. No need to apologize, Sarah replied. Family businesses are complicated. William turned, a sad smile on his face. That they are. James is brilliant, you know. Top of his class at Harvard. Business school. He understands markets and strategy better than I ever did. What he doesn't understand is people. He seems to view employees as line items rather than assets, Sarah observed. Exactly. William sighed heavily. I built Sterling. Innovations on the belief that our people were our greatest resource. We attracted brilliant minds by treating them with respect, giving them freedom to innovate, supporting their growth. Somewhere along the way, we lost sight of that. Sarah hesitated, then asked the question that had been troubling her. William, why did you really bring me back? There must be dozens of qualified executives who could lead these initiatives. William studied her for a long moment. When Emma helped me that day, do you know what struck me most? It wasn't just her kindness or her practical skills. It was her confidence. The absolute certainty that she could solve my problem if I trusted her. He smiled at the memory. Later, when I discovered who her mother was, I reviewed your file. I saw the same quality in your work. Confidence born of competence, not arrogance. You proposed solutions others hadn't considered because you weren't constrained by the way things have always been done. He moved away from the window, his expression earnest. I brought you back because you represent what Sterling Innovations should be. Innovative, ethical, practical. And because you have nothing to lose by challenging the status quo, you've already seen the worst the company can do to you. Sarah considered his words. The board meeting today made it clear that change won't come easily. James and Richard have significant influence. Yes, William acknowledged. This will be a battle. Are you still willing to fight it with me? Sarah thought of Emma, of the values she was trying to instill in her daughter. Integrity, courage, standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult. Yes, she said firmly. I'm in. That evening, Sarah arrived home later than usual. Emma was at the kitchen table working on homework, while Mrs. Wilson prepared dinner. Sorry I'm late, Sarah said, kissing the top of Emma's head. Board meeting ran long. No problem, Mrs. Wilson said cheerfully. Emma's been telling me all about her science project. Very impressive. After Mrs. Wilson left, Sarah and Emma sat down to dinner. Emma studied her mother's face. You look tired, Mom. Was it a bad day? Sarah smiled. Not bad, just challenging. Sometimes doing the right thing isn't easy. Emma nodded seriously. Miss Thompson said that in our ethics class. She said integrity means doing what's right even when no one is watching. Your Miss Thompson is very wise, Sarah said. How was your day? As Emma chatted about school, friends, and her upcoming science competition, Sarah felt a surge of pride and determination. This was what mattered, creating a world where her daughter could thrive, where integrity and hard work were valued over shortcuts and self-interest. Later that night, after Emma was asleep, Sarah received a text message from an unknown number. "Watch your back. Not everyone appreciates your interference." She stared at the message, a chill running down her spine. The battle lines had been drawn, and it seemed some players didn't intend to fight fair. 3 months after the contentious board meeting, Sarah stood at her office window, watching the first snowfall of the season dust Chicago in white. She had shown William the threatening text message, but they had agreed to remain vigilant rather than escalate the situation without more information. Since then, there had been no further threats, and Sarah had almost convinced herself it was an empty intimidation tactic. The rehiring initiative was well underway, with 43 former employees already back at Sterling Innovations. Each return was carefully documented, with performance metrics tracked to demonstrate the business value of the decisions. The optimized system expansion had been fully implemented, generating efficiencies that exceeded projections. By most measures, Sarah's initiatives were succeeding. Yet the company remained divided. William and James maintained a professional relationship in public, but their philosophical differences created an undercurrent of tension throughout the organization. Employees aligned themselves with either the old guard or the new vision, creating informal factions. Richard Blackwood had grown increasingly vocal in his criticism of what he called the emotional management style infiltrating the company. A knock on her door interrupted Sarah's thoughts. Margaret entered, her expression grave. "You need to see this," she said, handing Sarah a tablet displaying the financial news site Bloomberg. The headline made Sarah's blood run cold. "Sterling Innovations under investigation for accounting irregularities." The article claimed anonymous sources had provided evidence of financial misreporting dating back 6 months, precisely when Sarah had rejoined the company. "This is absurd," Sarah said, scanning the article. "Our financials are meticulously documented." "Of course they are," Margaret agreed, "but perception matters. The stock is already down 4% in pre-market trading." Sarah's phone rang, William calling an emergency executive meeting. When she arrived at the conference room, the atmosphere was thick with tension. James paced near the windows while William conferred quietly with the company's legal counsel. Other executives whispered in clusters, falling silent when Sarah entered. "Thank you all for coming on short notice," William began once everyone was seated. "As you've likely seen, we're facing serious allegations. I want to be absolutely clear. Sterling Innovations maintains the highest standards of financial reporting and ethical conduct. These allegations are unfounded, and we will cooperate fully with any investigation to prove that." The legal counsel, a stern woman named Victoria Lambert, outlined the situation. The SEC had received documents purporting to show accounting manipulation, specifically in areas related to the optimized system implementation and the rehiring initiative. While the allegations were vague, they were serious enough to warrant an official inquiry. "The timing is suspicious," Victoria noted. "These allegations surfaced just as quarterly reports were about to demonstrate the success of our new initiatives." James, who had remained silent until now, spoke up. "While the timing may be suspicious, we need to address the substance of the claims. The documents apparently implicate specific executives." His gaze shifted meaningfully to Sarah. The implication was unmistakable. "If you have something to say, James, say it directly," William challenged, his voice dangerously quiet. James faced his father. "The allegations center on projects directly overseen by Ms. Parker. That's not an accusation, it's a fact. And given her unconventional rehiring and rapid promotion, it raises questions that we need to address head-on." Sarah felt the eyes of everyone in the room on her. "I welcome any investigation," she said firmly. "The optimized system and rehiring initiative are fully documented, with multiple layers of oversight and approval. There has been no manipulation of data or financials under my direction." Victoria Lambert raised a hand. "No one in this room is making accusations, but we need to prepare for public scrutiny. The board will expect a response, and shareholders will demand reassurance." The meeting continued with discussion of communication strategy and investigation protocols. Throughout, Sarah was acutely aware of the subtle shift in how some executives regarded her, a new wariness, a hint of doubt. As the meeting concluded, William asked Sarah and James to stay behind. When the room had cleared, he faced them. Both. "This is not a coincidence," he said bluntly. "Someone is deliberately attempting to undermine our change initiatives by targeting Sarah." James crossed his arms. "Or perhaps there really are irregularities that need to be examined. We can't dismiss the allegations simply because they're inconvenient." "I'm not dismissing them," William replied. "I'm questioning the timing and the targeting. Sarah's work has been thoroughly documented and reviewed at every stage. By people loyal to you," James pointed out. "Are you suggesting I would condone financial fraud?" William's voice rose slightly. "I'm suggesting that your emotional investment in this redemption narrative might be clouding your judgment." Sarah interrupted before the argument could escalate further. "The facts will speak for themselves. I have nothing to hide, and a thorough investigation will prove that." William nodded. "Exactly. In the meantime, we continue our work. Sarah, I want you to personally review all financial documentation related to your initiatives. James, I expect your full cooperation with the investigation." James's jaw tightened, but he nodded curtly. "Of course. Transparency is in everyone's best interest." As Sarah left the meeting, her phone buzzed with a text from Margaret. "My office now." Margaret's office was a study in organized efficiency, with decades of company history archived in both digital and paper files. When Sarah entered, Margaret was already pulling records from a filing cabinet. "They're targeting the Optimize system," Margaret said without preamble. "I've been reviewing the transaction logs. Someone accessed the financial modeling modules using executive credentials at 2 a.m. last Sunday. Changes were made, then carefully concealed." Sarah felt a chill run through her. "That's impossible. Access requires biometric verification. For normal users, yes, but board-level access has different protocols." Margaret handed her a printout. "These are the altered projections, subtle changes, just enough to suggest deliberate inflation of savings projections." Sarah studied the document, her financial analyst's eye quickly spotting the discrepancies. "This is sophisticated work. Whoever did this understands our systems intimately and knows exactly where to plant doubts," Margaret agreed. "The question is who?" "James is the obvious suspect," Sarah said slowly. "He opposed the initiatives from the start, and he has the access." Margaret's expression remained neutral. "Perhaps, but don't overlook Richard Blackwood. He has both board-level access and a strong motivation to maintain the status quo. We need to tell William." "Not yet," Margaret cautioned. "We need more evidence. Right now it's just suspicious activity. We need to prove who was behind it." Sarah nodded reluctantly. "How do we do that?" "I have some ideas," Margaret said, a glint in her eye. "After 32 years, you learn a few tricks." That evening, as Sarah drove to pick up Emma from her after-school program, her phone rang. The caller ID showed Chicago Tribune. With a sense of foreboding, she answered through the car's Bluetooth. "Ms. Parker, this is Diane Reynolds from the Tribune. I'm calling for comment on allegations that financial irregularities at Sterling. Innovations originated in projects under your supervision." Sarah gripped the steering wheel tighter. "I have no comment at this time. Sterling Innovations will be issuing an official statement. Sources suggest you were brought back to the company under unusual circumstances after being laid off. Can you comment on your relationship with William Sterling and how it influenced your rapid promotion?" The insinuation was clear and ugly. "Again, I have no comment. Please direct your questions to our corporate communications department." She ended the call, her heart pounding. Things were escalating faster than she had anticipated. By morning, her name would be in the papers, linked to fraud allegations. Emma would hear about it. Kids at school would see it. Parents would talk. The thought made her stomach clench. When she arrived at the community center where Emma's science club met, Sarah was shocked to see a reporter and photographer waiting near the entrance. They approached as soon as she stepped out of her car. "Ms. Parker, can you comment on the allegations against Sterling Innovations? Is it true that William Sterling rehired you after meeting your daughter?" Sarah pushed past them, fury building inside her. My daughter is 10 years old. She has nothing to do with this. If you go near her, I will file harassment charges. Inside, she found Emma in the classroom, happily working on her project with other children. The sight of her daughter, innocent, unaware of the storm gathering around them, brought tears to Sarah's eyes. "Mom!" Emma looked up with a smile that faltered when she saw Sarah's expression. "What's wrong?" Sarah composed herself quickly. "Nothing, sweetheart, just a tough day at work. Ready to go home?" As they left through a side entrance to avoid the reporters, Emma looked up at her mother. "Those people outside, were they asking about me? I heard someone say my name." Sarah sighed. There was no protecting Emma completely from this. Better, she hear a version of the truth from her mother than garbled rumors from classmates. "Some people at work are making false accusations about me," she explained carefully as they drove home. "Those reporters want to ask questions about it, but you don't need to worry, the truth will come out." Emma was quiet for a moment. "Is it because of Mr. Sterling? Because I helped him with his tire?" Sarah was startled by her daughter's perceptiveness. "Why would you think that?" "Because things were okay before that. Then I helped him and you got your job back and now people are saying bad things." Emma's logic was simple but piercing. "It's more complicated than that, honey. Some people at the company don't like the changes Mr. Sterling and I are making. They're trying to stop us by making it look like we did something wrong." "That's not fair," Emma protested. "No, it's not, but we'll handle it. The important thing is to always tell the truth and do what's right, even when it's difficult." At home, Sarah checked her email to find dozens of messages, colleagues, expressing support or distancing themselves, media requests, and one from William asking her to call him immediately. "Sarah," William's voice was grave when she called. "Things are moving quickly. The board has called an emergency meeting for tomorrow morning. Richard is pushing for you to be placed on administrative leave during the investigation." "That would be tantamount to admitting guilt," Sarah objected. "I know I'm fighting it, but you should be prepared. How are you holding up?" Sarah glanced toward Emma's room, where her daughter was working on homework. "I've been better." "There," were reporters at Emma's school. William's intake of breath conveyed his dismay. "I'm so sorry, Sarah. This has gone too far. I promise you we will get to the bottom of this." After they hung up, Sarah sat at her kitchen table, staring at her laptop screen. On impulse, she opened the optimized system remotely and began reviewing access logs herself. Margaret had been thorough, but Sarah knew the system better than anyone. There might be patterns only she would recognize. Hours later, as midnight approached, Sarah straightened suddenly. There it was, a subtle anomaly. In the access patterns, board-level credentials had been used, but the digital signature didn't match the typical patterns of either James or Richard. This was someone else, someone trying to mimic their access patterns. She was about to call William when her laptop screen suddenly went blank. A moment later, a message appeared. "Stop digging or Emma's academic future becomes collateral damage." Sarah stared at the screen in horror. They were threatening her daughter now. This had gone beyond corporate politics. Someone was willing to harm a child to protect their interests. In that moment, something changed in Sarah. Fear gave way to cold, focused anger. Whoever was behind this had just made their biggest mistake. They had threatened Emma, and Sarah would stop at nothing to uncover the truth and protect her daughter. The Sterling Innovations boardroom was silent except for the gentle hum of the ventilation system. Outside, Chicago was experiencing the first major snowstorm of winter. White flakes swirling past the windows and accumulating on the ledges. Inside, a different kind of storm was brewing. Sarah sat alone at the long table, waiting for the emergency board meeting to begin. She had arrived deliberately, early, wanting to project confidence and control. The threat against Emma had kept her awake most of the night, but rather than breaking her, it had crystallized her resolve. She had dropped Emma at school with additional security arrangements. William had insisted on providing a driver and security detail when she told him about the threat. The door opened, and board members began filing in, followed by executives. Sarah noted their expressions, some sympathetic, others carefully neutral, a few openly hostile. Richard Blackwood entered with James Sterling, the two men deep in conversation. William was the last to arrive, his face grave but determined. "Thank you all for attending on such short notice," William began once everyone was seated. "As you know, allegations have been made regarding financial irregularities at Sterling Innovations. The purpose of this meeting is to address these allegations and determine our course of action." Richard Blackwood cleared his throat. "I believe the first order of business should be to place Ms. Parker on administrative leave pending a full investigation. This would demonstrate to shareholders and regulators that we take these allegations seriously." Several board members nodded in agreement. William's expression hardened. "Before we take any such action, I think we should hear from Ms. Parker. Directly, Sarah." Sarah stood outwardly calm despite her racing heart. "Thank you, William. I want to state unequivocally that I have engaged in no financial impropriety. The allegations are false, and I believe they have been manufactured specifically to undermine the change initiatives that many of you voted to support." She distributed folders to each board member. These documents demonstrate that the irregularities in question were introduced into our systems through unauthorized access using board-level credentials. The access occurred at times when I was demonstrably elsewhere, as confirmed by building security logs and electronic timestamps. As the board members reviewed the documents, Sarah continued, "Furthermore, I have evidence that someone has been attempting to conceal their digital tracks by mimicking access patterns of legitimate users. This is not the work of an external hacker, but someone with intimate knowledge of our systems and security protocols." Richard Blackwood scoffed. "This proves nothing except that our systems may have vulnerabilities. It certainly doesn't exonerate you." "No," Sarah agreed, "but this might." She nodded to William, who signaled to his assistant. The assistant entered, accompanied by the head of IT security, Rajiv Mehta. "Mr. Mehta has been conducting an independent investigation at my request," William explained. "Rajiv, please share your findings." Rajiv, a serious young man with a reputation for brilliant cybersecurity work, stepped forward. "After Ms. Parker reported suspicious system access, I implemented enhanced monitoring protocols without informing the general staff. Last night, we detected another unauthorized entry attempt using board credentials." The room grew tense as Rajiv continued. "The attempt originated from a specific IP address." He paused, looking uncomfortable. "An IP address registered to the residential network of Richard Blackwood." All eyes turned to Richard, who had gone pale. "This is preposterous. I was home in bed at that hour. Anyone could have hacked my home network." "Perhaps," Rajiv acknowledged, "but the access also required biometric authentication matching your registered patterns, and we have security camera footage of you entering the building at 1:42 a.m. despite the fact that your official access card wasn't used." The room erupted in shocked murmurs. Richard's face flushed with anger. "This is a setup. William is framing me to protect his pet project and his protégé." He spat the last word, glaring. At Sarah, James Sterling, who had been notably silent until now, suddenly spoke. "Dad, is this true? Did you manufacture evidence against Richard?" William looked at his son with disappointment. "Is that really what you think of me, James? That I would frame an innocent man?" Before James could respond, the boardroom door opened again. Margaret Holloway entered carrying a laptop. "Forgive the interruption, but I have information relevant to this discussion." Richard stood abruptly. "This meeting is closed, Margaret. Whatever you have can wait." "Actually, it can't," Margaret replied calmly. She turned to the board. "For the past month, I've been conducting my own investigation into unusual financial activities. What I found was a pattern of small but significant transactions designed to create the appearance of inflation in the projected savings from the optimized system." She opened the laptop and displayed a series of transaction records. These manipulations were subtle, meant to be discovered during an external audit. They would create just enough doubt about the integrity of our financial reporting to trigger a full SEC investigation. Margaret fixed Richard with a steely gaze. "What's particularly interesting is that these transactions were authorized using our special administrative password. one created 30 years ago during the company's founding, known only to a handful of people from that era. The revelation hung in the air. Richard's face had gone from red to ashen. "That proves nothing," he said, but his voice had lost its conviction. "Perhaps not on its own," Margaret agreed. "But combined with Mr. Mater's evidence and this..." She produced a small flash drive. "I think it builds a compelling case." "What's on that drive?" William asked. "Emails between Mr. Blackwood and certain board members discussing the need to restore traditional leadership and eliminate disruptive influences within Sterling Innovations. There are explicit references to creating problems that would force William to remove Sarah from her position." Richard lunged for the flash drive, but security personnel who had quietly entered the room restrained him. "You can't do this," he shouted. "I built this company alongside William. I've dedicated my life to Sterling Innovations." "No, Richard," William said sadly. "You dedicated your life to power and control. You forgot what this company stands for." Deal. Next hour passed in a blur of accusations, denials and revelations. As the evidence mounted, Richard's defiance crumbled. Several board members who had initially supported him distanced themselves, shocked by the extent of his machinations. When the security team finally escorted Richard from the room, William turned to the board. "I move that we formally clear Sarah Parker of all allegations and issue a public statement affirming our confidence in her integrity and leadership." The motion passed unanimously. Even James voted in favor, his expression troubled but resolute. As the meeting adjourned, James approached Sarah. "I owe you an apology," he said stiffly. "I was too quick to believe the worst." Sarah studied him. "Why? Because I represented a change you didn't agree with, or because your father championed me?" James winced. "Both, I suppose. And perhaps because your success challenged my assumptions about how this company should be run." He paused. "For what it's worth, I never supported or suspected Richard's actions. I just disagreed with your approach." "Disagreement is healthy," Sarah replied. "Sabotage isn't. Maybe we can find a middle ground, one that honors your father's values while addressing the market realities you understand so well." A flicker of surprise crossed James's face. "I'd be open to that discussion." As people filed out, William joined Sarah and James. "Well, this wasn't how I imagined bringing my son and my director of operations together, but I'll take it." James extended his hand to Sarah. "To new beginnings." Sarah shook it firmly. "And honest disagreements." William smiled, a weight visibly lifting from his shoulders. "I need to address the press. Sarah, would you join me? I think it's important that we present a united front." The press conference was held in the Sterling Innovations lobby. Reporters crowded around the podium as William explained the situation. A former executive had attempted to manipulate financial data to undermine company initiatives. Sarah had been falsely implicated, but was now completely exonerated. The company was cooperating with authorities, but did not expect any formal investigation to find wrongdoing. When William finished, a reporter called out, "Miss Parker, how does it feel to be vindicated?" Sarah stepped to the microphone. "Today isn't about vindication, it's about truth and integrity, values that Sterling Innovations is recommitting to under William's leadership. I'm grateful for the trust placed in me, and I look forward to continuing our work of building a company that values both innovation and human potential." Another reporter shouted, "Is it true that you met William Sterling when your daughter helped him change a flat tire?" Sarah smiled. "Yes, that's true. My daughter Emma taught Mr. Sterling that sometimes the most valuable help comes from unexpected places. It's a lesson we're applying throughout the company." As the press conference concluded, Sarah's phone buzzed with a text from Mrs. Wilson. "Emma saw you on the news. She's bursting with pride. Don't worry, she's safe and happy." Relief washed over Sarah. The worst was over. Emma was safe, her name was cleared, and the company was back on track. 6 months later, Sterling Innovations held a special ceremony in the company auditorium. Employees filled the seats, the atmosphere buzzing with anticipation. On stage, a large portrait covered in velvet stood next to the existing portrait of Martha, Sterling, William's late wife and company co-founder. William stepped to the podium. 50 years ago, my wife Martha and I founded this company on a simple principle. Innovation thrives when people are valued. Over time, we sometimes lost sight of that principle. Today, we recommit to it, and we honor someone who helped us find our way back. He gestured, and the velvet was removed, revealing a portrait of Sarah. Applause erupted throughout the auditorium. Sarah Parker exemplifies the values that built Sterling Innovations, William continued. Intelligence tempered with compassion, innovation driven by purpose, and courage in the face of adversity. Her portrait will hang alongside Martha's as a reminder of what we stand for. Sarah, seated in the front row with Emma beside her, felt tears welling in her eyes. She hadn't expected this honor. As William invited her to speak, she squeezed Emma's hand and walked to the podium. "Thank you, William. This is overwhelming." She took a moment to compose herself. "But the true hero of this story isn't me. It's a 10-year-old girl who saw someone in need and stopped to help, without calculation or expectation of reward." Sarah's gaze found Emma in the audience. "My daughter taught me, and all of us, that small acts of kindness can transform lives and even institutions. That's the legacy I hope to honor in my work here." In the 6 months since Richard's exposure, Sterling Innovations had undergone a renaissance. The rehiring initiative had been completed, bringing back valuable talent. The optimized system had been further expanded, driving efficiencies that impressed even the most skeptical shareholders. And a new educational outreach program, spearheaded by Sarah and James together, was providing technology training to underprivileged schools across Chicago. James and William had found a new equilibrium, with James focusing his business acumen on sustainable growth strategies while embracing his father's emphasis on human capital. Margaret had become Sarah's most trusted advisor and friend, sharing institutional knowledge and political savvy that proved invaluable. As for Emma, she had blossomed. Her science project on renewable energy had won the citywide competition, and Sterling Innovations had established a scholarship program in her name for young innovators from disadvantaged backgrounds. After the ceremony, a reception was held in the executive lounge. William found Sarah by the windows, looking out at the Chicago skyline. "Penny for your thoughts?" he asked, joining her. Sarah smiled. "I was just thinking about that rainy day when Emma helped you change a tire. How different things might have been if she had just walked past." "I believe some encounters are meant to happen," William replied. "They shake us out of our complacency and remind us of what matters." "Perhaps," Sarah agreed. "Or perhaps it's simpler than that. Perhaps the world changes when ordinary people choose kindness over indifference, one small action at a time." William raised his glass. "To small actions and big changes." As they clinked glasses, Sarah caught sight of Emma across the room, deep in conversation with James about her latest invention idea. Her daughter's face was animated, hands gesturing excitedly as James listened with genuine interest. Sarah felt a profound sense of peace. The journey had been difficult, with moments of genuine fear and doubt, but they had emerged stronger, wiser, and more committed to building something meaningful. A company transformed by integrity, a family healed by honest reconciliation, and at the heart of it all,